How's everybody doing? It's Douglas here, and I've been waiting to make this video for a while now, but I wanted to wait until Kevin Durant finally signed his name across the dotted line and it made it official, and also for me just to actually have some time to understand what has happened in the NBA. But before we get into the pros and cons of Kevin Durant's decision on the grand scheme of things, I wanted to talk about his decision in general from my point of view. And I'm in the neutral party. I believe that this is Kevin Durant's decision, and we have to respect it as a business decision and a basketball decision too, and it seems like he made the best decision for himself, but maybe not for others. Other people believe, and personally, I kind of believe that this is just ridiculous. Like, how are you going to leave Oklahoma City, a perfectly good contender, to go to someone that has beaten you in the Western Conference Finals? It just doesn't make sense from a competitive standpoint. But, you know, players in the past have done it too. Shaq has moved around his whole career trying to chase rings. Charles Barkley's moved around. The list goes on and on of examples. LeBron. Some people are saying this is very similar to LeBron's decision, which I can see that. You're leaving to go to a kind of a larger market with already talent assembled, but at the same time, the Miami Heat didn't just win a championship a few years ago. You know, the Miami Heat didn't already have this ensemble of talent that the Golden State Warriors do now. So I'm kind of neutral. I respect the fact that Kevin Durant wants to win, and he's willing to go to a place to do it that will villainize him. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about his image, it seems like. He just cares that he wants to win. But at the same time, is it cheap? Maybe. I don't know, but let's get into the pros and cons of his decision from just a general standpoint. So from the NBA viewing perspective, we have a legitimate chance to see the best team ever put on a basketball court in NBA's history. I'm not talking about the Dream Team, because that was FIBA. It's not the NBA, but in an NBA regular season and playoffs, it's a legitimate chance. You have Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and whatever kind of role players they want to put in place. Free agency's not over yet, so we're going to see what that roster is compiled of by the end of it. But it should be definitely interesting to see just how many wins and just how many records that this team can break. That's another pros of watching this team. Can this Warriors team break the record for most threes made in one season for a team? I don't think Steph Curry's going to be able to break his 402 made threes in one season now with Kevin Durant there. His personal numbers are going to take a hit, and a lot of personal numbers are going to take a hit. But the 86 Celtics was one of the more fun teams to watch. I wasn't even allowed to see it, but I've went back and watched a video. But either way, very fun team to watch, and even though they were dominant, it was extremely fun to watch them. So that's a pro for the league and a pro for the viewership in general of the NBA. This is going to be a monster team, and people that really enjoy watching basketball is going to see the best basketball on the planet, more than likely. But we're going to have to see how chemistry affects this team early on, if they can mold together, and if the loss of the Warriors' depth will actually prove to be a problem down the road. But another pro for the NBA is the fact that they now have a villain. And some might say, well, how is that a pro? Well, people like to have two sides of the stories. They like to have a hero and a villain, and they like to root for the hero over the villain. And some people will see it this way. Golden State fans will see it another way. It's just perception is what it is. But basically, you have someone to root for and someone to root against, and there's always going to be a storyline there. And people love storylines, whether they mean to follow them or not. It's just in our nature to want to root against evil and praise the good. Some of the cons now is that the league is going to be perceived as less competitive or uncompetitive realistically, there's only 3 teams I believe that can win an NBA championship next season, that being the Warriors, Spurs, and Cavs. I don't really see another team stepping up to the plate and really challenging those 3, because those 3 are bounds better in terms of talent and just general roster ability throughout the season and playoffs. So people might not have an interest. That leads me to my next con. There's going to be a general lack of interest surrounding the NBA. I don't think you'll necessarily see people tuning in all too much because they already know the outcome. If they're betting on an outcome or they're wanting to watch because of a game's unpredictability, then you're not going to get that with the Warriors this season, because more than likely they're going to win quite a few games, to say the least. But the next con is, in general, is just the perception of super teams. Because when these super teams exist, the general thought process behind it is we don't want to see these super teams. But you got to look at it from like a general manager perspective. They just want to build the best team they can, and quite frankly, it looks like they've done that. But the general perception of super teams is a bad thing. No one wants to see it unless you're actually the fan base that's getting rewarded by seeing it. And the last con is that Kevin Durant is a villain. But you might be saying, well, wait, you said that the NBA having a villain is now a pro. But I also said it's down to perception, and Kevin Durant was looked upon as one of the more well-perceived players, and honestly, like, I would say he was up there for some of the most liked NBA players there are, period. And now it seems like that's just completely changed overnight. And that's just weird to see. That could also be perceived as a con. But tell me your comments below what you think is going to happen this season, what your thoughts are on Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. And also, don't forget to leave a rating on this video. Tell me how you liked or disliked it. And as always, have a nice day.